So before I start this week, can anybody tell me why nobody is watching this show? There are very few videos on YouTube about it, very few reviews, and even on my favorite websites that talk about shows, nobody's talking about Cruel Summer Season 2. It's wild because Season 1 was hugely popular, but Season 2 of Cruel Summer just kind of flew under the radar. Does nobody know that it's out yet? I guess a lot of people wanted a continuation of Season 1. I don't know what the reason is, and I gotta admit, it's not as good as Season 1. It's a pity because it feels like a lot of people aren't even giving it a chance, but anyway, whatever the reason, I'll keep watching. Anyway, onto the video. The events of episode 4 take place on the 23rd on each timeline. Last week was the 19th, so we're 4 days later. Summer of 1999, Megan tells Isabella that she'd like to do something different this year. She doesn't want to do the same thing and be boring, responsible Megan. She also doesn't want to commit any crimes or anything, but she wants an adventure. She wants to be unpredictable. Isabella is in. She says that unpredictable is her brand. Post-tape scandal in the second timeline, the household is struggling. An old pipe just burst in the house and it's flooding into the kitchen, which means having to call a plumber, which also means another bill. In the present day, summer 2000, we see Megan throw a trash bag into the trash outside. It looks like she wants to get rid of something, and Isabella sees her, goes behind her back to check what Megan was throwing out, and it's a bloody garment. The garment has flowers on it. Her lawyer, meanwhile, wants to know where Megan and Luke went. Remember, the surveillance tape showed that she didn't drop him off at home like she said she did. She says that they drove around for a bit and then they ended up at the cabin. That's the site of the murder. So that doesn't inspire much confidence. Back during the innocent summer, Megan, Isabella, Luke, and Jeff decide to all go to a dive bar because Megan says she wants to do something fun. Jess suggests he help her make some fake IDs since she's good with computers, and after some hesitation and pointing out that it is risky, she agrees to it, and Luke is very surprised by this. He's not voicing any objections though. In the second timeline, the plumber comes around but says that he'll send a team when Debbie has the money. It's going to cost $6,000 to do this plumbing repair, which is crazy because that costs more than my car. Anyway, their emergency fund is empty because the roof last year had issues and there was Lily's retainer, Megan's younger sister. Isabella comes in with $5,000 then that her parents gave to her to buy herself a Christmas present. Note that the stack of bills in the backpack was also labeled $5,000. And why would her parents give her a stack of cash like this? Unless this was normal in 1999, it could have been. Anyway, they'll be sleeping over at Steve's for the house, Luke's father, because of the leak. Megan and her mother politely decline Isabella's offer to give them $5,000, and Megan says that they'll find another way. In the first timeline, Jeff and Megan are working on their fake IDs, and she gets an instant message from somebody named Cabbage5 offering to show her some shortcuts for C++, a programming language. She seems embarrassed by this and quickly hides it. By the way, these aren't some janky, badly made IDs. Megan kinda hacks into a government website and downloads the watermarks so that the IDs really look real. It seems kinda crime-ish to me. In the present day, Megan says that the last time she saw Luke was early Saturday morning, and she says that's all. She's not hiding anything more, but her lawyer knows that she's probably hiding more. You can just tell by looking at her. In the first timeline, the kids rehearse their speech to get into the bar with their fake IDs. Isabella points out that she doesn't need to rehearse, because she's done this before. By the way, in all of the summer timelines, Luke doesn't seem that interested in Isabella. He seems to get along with her very well. He finds her attractive and nice, but at that age, teenagers who are hooking up are basically joined at the lips and kind of annoying about it. I don't sense Luke has any kind of deep interest in her. It also kind of feels like he gets annoyed when she mentions how cool she is. In the second timeline, Steve is losing investors for one of his projects because of the tape. When the kids are settling in the house, Luke tells Isabella that his housekeeper made her favorite dish and that she says hi. Megan and Luke are dating at this point, so it's slightly awkward, but it seems that Luke and Isabella's relationship might have been a little more serious than I thought. I'm curious about that. Anyway, later, as Megan is about to take a shower, she finds one of Isabella's bikini tops in Luke's bathroom. She also mentions the $5,000 to Luke and says that it was so awkward, but Luke tells her that Isabella was only trying to help and that he knows because she spoke to him about it. Megan doesn't like this, but Luke says that they still talk as friends and she wanted his advice. In the present, Jack shows Megan and her lawyer a letter that Luke had written to his father about running away, and the letter has Megan's fingerprints on it. So how does she explain that? She says that Luke told her that he wanted to run away and she was protecting him by lying every time Jack asked about it in his investigation. The lawyer shuts this down then and they're out of there. I should also mention that Luke's father, Steve, was so proud of him for getting into business business school and basically he was supposed to follow in the family's footsteps, Luke did not seem too keen on the idea. And the pressure that came with carrying this family name did get to him, so him running away is plausible. In the first timeline, the girls get into the bar, but the guys get bounced. Megan wants to go out and check on the guys at first, but Isabella's like, no, we're here. They toast as Megan has her first rum and coke, and Isabella tells her that it was her first drink in Barcelona with Lisa. Jeff and Luke are sitting outside in the car waiting for the girls, and Luke asks Jeff about him and Megan. He says that it's cool that they're hanging out, and he seems genuine, but there's still a whisper of hurt there, and maybe confusion because from what I can tell, he probably has never considered that he has any possible romantic feelings for Megan. Anyway, the girls end up leaving the bar because Megan spots the sheriff there and they join the boys in the car and they run away. In the second timeline, Megan walks in on Isabella rummaging through Brent's drawers and she tells Megan that she was looking to see if he had any more tapes. I don't believe her. Megan gives Isabella the bikini top then, and she doesn't believe that Isabella left it there last summer when she and Luke were dating. Megan implies that it could have been more recent than that, as in, is Isabella cheating on Megan with Luke after all? She also says that if there's any overlap or if she still has feelings for Luke, she should tell her. Isabella says that she let the whole town slut-shame her just so that Megan wouldn't lose her scholarship. And now Megan thinks that she's sneaking around with him, really? Megan apologizes, and then Isabella gets weird. She asks how far they need to go for Isabella to prove her loyalty. Isabella asks, do I have to kill for you? That evening at dinner, Brent slut-shames Isabella and there's a bit of a screaming match. Finally, Debbie says that the boys owe Isabella an apology. Debbie's shocked to find out that there are more tapes, more girls filmed by Brent without her consent, and she says that this is criminal. The parents argue then, and Debbie walks out and she says to Steve that she hopes the family name was worth protecting, even though he basically has a delinquent son who's going to not learn any lessons from this, because he got bailed out. In the present day, Megan tells her mother that Luke was freaked out and wanted to get away for a while. And the plan was that she would drop it in Steve's mailbox after she dropped Luke off at the train station. Then when she got back to the cabin after work, he wasn't there. For months after he disappeared, every time the phone rang, she thought it was going to be him. In the first timeline, the group ends up at Luke's house. They keep drinking and Megan and Jeff go off outside for a walk and they kiss. Isabella is busy telling Luke about their night, but he's a bit distracted by Megan and Jeff at first. It looks like he still hasn't quite caught up to the feeling or the fact that he's jealous. Anyway, Luke and Isabella end up kissing, and to be fair, he does like her. In the present, Jack comes over to the house. They have a warrant for Megan's computer because they believe that it has evidence of fraud. She calls someone to tell them that the sheriff took her computer and she tried to cover her tracks, but she just hopes that she got the code right. Steve, meanwhile, sends a plumber over to Debbie's house and that's his way of apologizing. Just then, Megan gets a report card in the mail and she got 4 A's and a C. And I wonder at this point, what was the fraud? Did she somehow change her grades? Was it because of the fake IDs or was she up to more shenanigans? We don't know. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the episode, in the present day, Jack tells Megan that she hasn't been truthful and now he's going to paint a picture. On January 1st, Luke disappeared without a trace, and Megan was the last person to see him alive. She says that he ran away. Jack thinks that she was part of a cover-up. Her relationship with Luke was never the same after the sex tape. There were so many secrets and lies, and things got more complicated when she found out she was pregnant. Jack thinks that Megan told Luke at the cabin that she was pregnant, and Luke rejected the idea of a future with her, and that's when Megan killed him. This sounds like a bit of a stretch on Jack's part, but yeah, teenage girls can be scary. So anyway, if you have seen it, feel free to share your thoughts and thank you for watching.